it's finally September too, which has
I
been
know, which
amazing.
is yay fall,
Yay,
which
fall.
it's not really fall here, but I think we're going to have let me see. Let's see, what's the temperature right now? My computer says 106, and then my phone says 107. And I have a severe weather alert
Oh,
because air
it's
quality
hot
and
and the air
heat and
quality
all
is
that good stuff.
nasty. Yeah. I think my mom tagged me this morning in our update of, but our guy that we follow on Facebook for the Arkansas Storm Tracker, Zachary Hall, shout out to you, you're great, started posting that we should be having our chilly watch come through, meaning that we have cold expected temperatures coming in.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
congratulations! That's so
I'm
exciting.
so excited. I'm like, it's actually nice enough in here that I don't need the AC on 100% of the time. I'm not sweating constantly. And I watched a
Oh,
leaf fall from the tree today and I was like, yes!
yay! It's awesome.
I'm so excited.
I will I will be excited when it is not 100.
Oh, yeah.
We had 100 days of over 100-degree temperatures,
Mm.
which is a record. Yeah,
Woof.
that
That's
sucks.
that's just rough.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Arizona's rough.
yay, fall though. Yeah, I know. I know.
All right.
But yay, September.
Yes, yay,
Yay, fall.
September. And happy birthday to my sister who turned 40 yesterday.
Oh,
At the time that
happy
this is
birthday.
released. So tomorrow is her actual birthday, but at the time that this
Oh,
drops,
okay.
it's yesterday.
So happy birthday, Katie's sister. What's your Katie's sister's name? What's your
It's,
sister's name?
it's Amy.
Amy. Happy birthday, Amy, Katie's sister. Woohoo.
Yeah. So, oh my God, my birthday's in like 12 days. Jesus. Okay.
Oh, well, mine's in a month. So I'm yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be
Yay, all the
29.
best people are born in the fall.
They are. They are. That is statistically proven.
Yes,
Yes,
I like it. I like those stats.
I do too. All right. Well, before we get started today, while we understand that some individuals listen for the entertainment aspect of true crime, it's very important to remember that these are real people with families and friends who may still be suffering from their loss. These stories are not meant to open old wounds or cause further emotional damage to those involved. We remind you to please be respectful and do not dox or contact those involved with cases. The case discussed in this podcast today may be disturbing to some listeners, and listener discretion is advised.
And it's interesting. Our topic today is
Serial killers?
yes, yes.
Yes.
And I am super excited because I just started reading a graphic novel.
Ooh,
You probably know it, From Hell. Um,
I
the graphic
don't.
novel, and they made. I don't know. Okay, so I don't know a lot about graphic novels, so listeners out there, forgive me for messing this up.
As I go
But
running for Amazon, I'm like, let
Alan,
me put this in my basket.
oh seriously, no, it's either From Hell was written and then the movie was made, or vice versa. I have a feeling it was written first,
Hmm.
but it's super good. And the man who wrote it, Alan, oh, I'm gonna get this wrong, Alan Moore.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, he wrote it, and then the illustrations are good so far, and I've just started it, so that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna fall asleep to tonight. A little bit of Jack the Ripper.
That sounds so relaxing. And I
It
actually
does.
pulled out one of my books the other day, and it was the one that you recommended to me back in college. I think
Yeah.
it's the apothecary one with all the different skeleton like forms for mythical creatures. I forgot how
Yes.
much I love that book.
That's right. I love that book too. That's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. It has the skeletons of the mermaid and the centaur and
Hmm.
other cryptozoological
Oh yeah,
beings.
it's really
I love it.
cool. If I can get the name for it, I'll put it in the show notes for everybody so they can go
Oh,
check it out as well.
yeah,
Because
cool.
yeah, that was a really cool book. I'm like, ooh. So I just sat there like flipping through pages the other night. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is what I needed.
Like, this is neat. Yeah, a little chill.
But yeah, we're going to talk serial killers today. We've obviously tried to do this before. However, on my end, some stuff jacked up, and unfortunately, that's my fault. So, alrighty. Sorry about that again, because this computer over here is like 2016 and she's on her deathbed. But we're just going to keep having her push through until she can't anymore, which I hope is
Right.
not soon. Um,
Keep.
keep holding on, little one. So, today's topic, we're going to be doing a deep dive into serial killers. I think this is well, it's not the first time I've done it. I've done this one twice now, once for the previous podcast and once where we messed up the other night.
Oh.
So, this
That's okay. Third time.
this is the first deep dive coverage that we're going to probably be doing on Spattered, which involves a topic. So, it's going to be topical. It's not going to really involve much case to it other than just a few little notes here and there regarding
Yeah.
certain serial killers as we go through. So, before we get started, I want to let everyone know that this may be a little bit heavier, like I said, on the mental health side of things, along with some sexual assault and child involved cases, because
Yeah.
obviously, unfortunately, that's where this stumbles into at times.
Yes.
So, Gerber's practical homicide investigation defines serial murder as two or more separate murders where an individual acting alone or with another commits multiple homicides over a period of time with breaks between each murder event. The FBI definition of a serial murderer is the killing of three or more separate victims with an emotional cool off period between the killings. So these cool off periods can range from days to weeks to months or even years between victims. During this emotional cool off period, the perpetrator may reflect on what they did, such as dwelling on the pleasure he or she felt with the horrifying treatment and murder of another human being. The individual may contemplate on the effectiveness of their approach to their victim
Mm.
and if they achieved their end goals desired, and basically if they need to tweak it going forward.
Ugh. And in practice makes perfect.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that means a serial killer or serial killers have been around since people have been around, but the definition's really not that old, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's what from would you say the 50s?
I'd say
Like mid
probably
50s?
mid 50s, early 60s, because it wasn't something that was highly thought about until it became a
Yeah,
really big problem,
right.
which
And
during that little
pe-
golden era of the 60s, 70s, you had a lot of
uh,
serial killers.
because people were noticing
Mm-hmm.
the stuff happening and we're putting two and two together and figuring out, oh, hey, this is kind of similar.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe this is that thing that the FBI was talking about. Now, was it the FBI's definition that came first and then the practical homicide kind of tweaked it a little bit or,
So the practical
um,
homicide one came second, I believe, to the
okay.
FBI's definition, which
Yeah.
both of them are great definitions. I
Oh,
love
right.
Gerberth's Practical Homicide Investigation textbook. It's a great textbook. Don't
It
recommend
is
it
a
if you have
great
a
book.
queasy stomach or you don't want to see crime scene
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah. But if you are interested in forensic science, criminal investigation, and you have a strong stomach, it is a fantastic book.
Oh, absolutely. The Practical Homicide Investigation book does note that they define theirs differently because of the way that these investigators that helped write this book solved these types of cases and had
Okay.
experienced them themselves.
Got it. Got it.
Serial killers have been described as intelligent, charismatic, streetwise, charming, and generally good looking. To which I think I said to you during the last recording that I don't understand the good looks about Ted Bundy. I can understand it. He's not it for me, but
Again, it's the 1970s context. It's all context. I mean, I, I I don't know. I mean, there are some people out there that, are murderers, and if you didn't know any better, well, who am I thinking of? The Barbie Ken killers.
oh
He was
yeah,
she was beautiful. She is
she is
beautiful.
beautiful.
Was
Yeah.
beautiful. He was not bad looking. He was a good looking guy,
Mhm.
and you wouldn't think, oh hey, they killed what, 4 or 5 people, but
Mhm.
anyway, I think the I think the charisma
Helps to
uh,
shadow some of
helps.
that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely, because I've definitely I presume you've had the same experiences as many others probably have too, of meeting somebody,
Yeah.
being
Uh-huh.
swept head over heels, and then suddenly they're
Uh-huh.
not that person anymore. And
Uh-huh. Oh
things
yeah.
start getting a little scary. I'm just like,
Yes.
okay, yeah, no, definitely have fallen into that trap. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, no, I'm like still on the same side. I don't understand the attraction to Ted Bundy. I really think that he looks like the seal from Finding Dory.
I can't get that. I can't unsee that now.
That was my first thought when I
Every time.
saw that movie. I'm like, that seal looks like Ted Bundy. Just the
So the
courtroom
entire
shot.
Oh God, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, you think about it though, and there's a lot of pictures out there of these folks that, obviously don't put them in the best light, like you
oh
said, the
yeah,
courthouse photo and the mugshots, of course.
oh yeah. Then you
But
have
if you
this
were
predisposition of this is a bad guy, this is a
right,
bad dude. However,
right,
you're just walking up to somebody and they're charming and they flirt with you,
and
and
they're just
it's
not, or they're just a nice guy, like maybe they work at your church. Or
mm-hmm.
maybe he's a security guard and he's a nice person. You don't, I think we don't expect, I think that we as humans expect ugly deeds to be done by physically, outwardly ugly beings,
Oh, absolutely. I
monsters,
think that's
right?
basically, well, I mean, even when you look at Hollywood films, the
Yeah,
big mean guy usually
yeah,
isn't an attractive
right.
individual, which
No, it's a
it's a
stereotype. Um,
stereotype.
yeah, which is probably unfair because then that's how these charismatic, nice serial killers kind of fly under the radar because
Mhm.
nobody would believe that nice Ted Bundy would do
Ever
this.
do this.
Or
He drives a
Mr. Dennis,
Volkswagen Beetle. How could he do that?
right? Or Mr. Raider. There is no
Mhm.
way that he did these horrible things, and the nice guy driving the semi truck that gave me a ride, nice. Didn't try anything,
Oh yeah.
but we don't see we don't see the other side of everything.
No, absolutely not. So, moving forward, these individuals are typically mobile individuals capable of traveling any number of miles in search of what they deem to be the right victim, usually targeting a certain type of victim. And the right type of victim is usually a person who is vulnerable and easy to control. This may either be a male or a female. This can include, but is not limited to, children, vagrants, sex workers, individuals
Mhm.
living what law enforcement deems to be a high risk lifestyle, minority groups, and individuals of the LGBTQ plus status.
Yeah.
So, we've also discussed this, me and you personally,
Mhm.
with my research, along with on this podcast as well, that there is a term that was coined by Stephen Eggers that is the less dead.
Yeah.
Now, this is the lack of prestige or power for these victims, along with the lower social economical group status, making their deaths and disappearances virtually as if they never were.
Which is absolutely, absolutely tragic.
It's very tragic. Unfortunately, this is a group that serial killers and other serial offenders prey upon the most.
Yeah.
It's also important to discuss that serial offenders don't have a large intelligence or a larger intelligence than most of society. In fact, most of them fall into the average IQ territory.
So we're not looking for Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Um,
Or Palant, because I just made it to that part in Bones.
oh, yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he creeped me out
oh, he
in
creeped me
Bones.
out too.
He really creeped me out.
I'm like, the stitching of the face back together. I was sitting on the couch. I'm like, you know what? I can't do this. I can't watch you do this.
Oh God, I know that. Oh, I'm trying so hard not to be loud because it's just, yeah, that's creepy. And here's the thing. He was before he started doing all that crazy shit on the show, you're like, oh,
hmm
he's not a bad looking guy. He's a good looking guy. And the poor man who plays this character on TV, he probably still gets the shudders from people like,
Oh,
oh my God,
yeah.
you played on Bones. Oh, you're something like that. So
I could not imagine. It's kind of like that typecasting of most of the
yeah.
people that see Dolores Umbridge, the actress for Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter. She
Yes.
still gets so much hate for that role. I'm just
Which
like,
is, I mean, and I've seen her in so many
mm-hmm.
other amazing things. And she's not like that at all. So she's a very, very accomplished actress because you don't see Dolores Umbridge when you watch Sense and Sensibility. She's in Sense and
Oh yeah.
Sensibility. She was in an episode of Midsummer Murders. And it's like, oh, hey, that's her. I'm, or wasn't she? She was in The Crown too.
Is she in The Crown?
I think so.
She might be. I thought she was in Downington Abbey.
Was she in Downton Abbey? I don't
She
know.
might
I
be.
didn't watch
Oh,
Downton
it's really
Abbey.
good. I
I know
really
she was
like
in The
it.
Crown. And I'm fairly certain. Yes, I'm fairly certain. I'm like 85% sure.
Okay. I'm like, I
Yeah.
just remember seeing her in Maleficent after it, and they had her as the Pink Fairy. I'm like, nope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, those whole giant fairy head things I didn't like
I didn't
anyway.
like that anyway, but I was just like, immediately she
Yeah.
showed up in pink. I'm like, oh, it's Umbridge. Oh no. What is she doing here?
Oh,
But yeah, definitely, there's that typecasting. And after being in acting myself, it was very much you get placed into a certain role,
yes.
and that role follows you after you leave the stage too, which can be very just exhausting at times because when people come up to you, they're like, "Oh, do something funny." I'm like, "I just want to get my apples
No.
from the grocery store. Can I
Right.
can I
Right. You're
please?"
like, no, leave me alone. Thank you very much. Leave me alone.
So, what serial killers usually have that makes them considered to be of high intelligence or have that stereotype of being highly intellectual is cunning and streetwise skills. This
Yeah.
usually helps them to avoid detection and apprehension for good amounts of time. Also, serial killers are often extremely manipulative
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes are able to talk to their victims into a sense of comfort.
Yeah. There's that charisma. Everything's gonna be okay. That little bit of
hmm
narcissism. Why do you feel this way? Why don't you just come on in and get in my yellow VW bug?
I'll take you home.
I
Not.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. What do you think? I'm a bad guy? And I'm sorry, I'm typecasting here, but Katie, as I'm sure you're gonna mention later, are the majority of serial killers male?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. To be fair, I don't trust a lot of males anyway, so I'm just like,
Right, whether or
yeah.
not they're serial killers, so
hmm So,
yeah.
for example, posing as a person in need of help,
Mm-hmm.
appliance men or utility workers are typical areas that they kind of roam in. Not to say all of them are, but it does happen.
Yeah.
To which, if you were to have someone walk up to you and ask if they need your help, they don't.
In this day and age of cell phones, nobody needs directions anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody needs to borrow money for a phone. Nobody needs you to lift anything into the back of their van, a la Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, again, like you're saying,
Mhm.
charisma, manipulation, whatever type of ruse to get the victim comfortable.
Into a sense of comfort and
Yeah.
away from public.
Ugh, that's
Which, if you're a
creepy.
child and a stranger comes up to you, because I know that I've got at least two littles in here listening to this, if they say that they need your help,
No,
they don't fucking need your help. Like,
no, they
no.
don't.
No, no, no,
They
no,
don't
no.
have they don't have puppies, they don't have your dog, they don't have your neighbor's dog, they don't have a cat,
Mhm.
they don't have they don't have a PS4. No, they didn't. They don't have anything free. Your parents are okay. They were not sent by
Mhm.
your parents to go get you. Okay? Run fast and go back to school, go to another adult that you trust and know. Ugh, that's
Oh, yeah.
scary.
Oh, yeah.
And
And,
that
like,
still happens.
for example, my mom, and I'm a little bit of a blonde naturally, but when I was little, my mom drove up in her truck as I was walking from the bus stop. And this is how ingrained into my mind because I lived around police officers. I had police officers in the family. How ingrained into my mind it was. She had had her hair done and it was just bleach blonde. And she
Uh-huh.
drove up and she's like, Katie, get in the car. I'm like, I don't know you.
Yeah, you're like, screw you, bitch. What? Oh, hi, mom. Sorry.
Hi, mom. I'm sorry. But
Didn't
yeah,
mean to call you a bitch there.
I definitely gave her the look of like, what the hell are you?
Who the fuck are you? Yeah, well, good. But see, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I had a weird situation too. I'm like you. I grew up around police officers, have police officers in my family.
Hmm.
And there was an incident when I was visiting my grandparents in Texas when I was a little girl. I was 11, and a police officer, or so I thought, and he was, but a man came to the door, said he was a police officer, and asked to come in. And my grandparents, this goes in a whole sad direction, but this is the important part, I guess. Um, and I said, no, I'm not going to let you inside.
Hmm.
And I said, my grandparents are out walking. And instead, I think I gave him my father's name and where my father and which department my father worked for. Because hey, I don't know. People can pretend to be a police officer
Oh, yeah.
just like they can do stopping you too. Because any bonehead can buy a flashing red light, stick it up on their car, and say, pull over, pull over. Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
no.
Definitely. And it's happened before and we will actually get into a case
Mhm.
that it's
Yeah.
discussed how these individuals will perpetrate an officer. They will
Ugh,
put themselves into this position of authority and we've already talked
uh-huh.
about one because honest to God, and we didn't really go too deeply into Cynthia V. Hill's victimization. But she was so scared when she got away from David Parker Ray because he wore a similar outfit to law enforcement, which he wasn't
Ugh,
with law enforcement. He was actually a park ranger.
uh-huh. But
But,
still that same kind of official official looking
mm-hmm.
uniform type of clothing.
Oh, yeah. And Joseph D'Angelo, for instance, was working in that type of
Oh,
environment
yeah, he was
too.
a police officer. Yeah.
Yep. And then
Well,
we haven't discussed it yet because I'll hopefully be talking with Bill Thomas from Mind Over Murder on these cases, but the Route 29 stalker was actually impersonating an officer at one point.
really?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So there's a bunch of really scary things that can happen out there. Just
Yes.
and if you do happen to have an officer pull you over in the evening or somewhere that you're alone, they're usually not going to be up your ass about it if you just open up your window a crack and go, "Hey,
Yep.
I just want to make sure that this is all okay.
Yep.
Don't get out of your car. You can call the
Nope.
department, talk to them."
Call 911.
That too.
Call 911 and say this someone's pulling me over. Is this really happening?
Oh, yeah.
Because if it's real, those officers or troopers, highway patrol, they're in contact with dispatch. And if it's legit,
They'll
they're
know.
gonna know
Oh, yeah.
immediately. Yeah.
Yep. Because a lot of
That's
scary
sad
things
that
can happen.
we have to say that. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
It's horrifyingly sad that we have to say that, but it's an unfortunate reality that we live in
Yeah.
nowadays. Additionally, if the victim is female, it's found that she may resemble other female victims of the serial killer, for example, hair or personal occupation. According to the late criminal profiler Robert Russell, I think is how his last name is pronounced.
Wrestler.
Wrestler?
Wrestler, R-E-S. Yeah, wrestler.
Yep.
R-E-S-S-L-E-R. Yep.
Yep. These individuals have conscious, detailed plans for murder. Often, these plans are improved upon with each successful killing. Each new experience gives the offender insight into their next murder. However, there is research from the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit that serial killers may be categorized as organized or disorganized killers. Now, the organized killers plan out how the crime should go, and they typically clear away evidence to prevent discovery of their identity. This killer may also engage in purposeful post mortem mutilation. This is usually done to hinder identification, add shock value, or allow ease of transport of a body. For
Yeah.
example, a serial murderer in New York City removed the heads and hands of two sex workers to prevent the identification of the victims. In another case, the breasts of a female victim were actually removed and left on the bedside table for shock value.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of that can be part of their signature too. It's something that
Hmm.
they get a kick out of it, which is again kind of sad to say. Um, and so is the signature, is that usually part of the organized versus the disorganized?
From what I've seen with research wise, I would say it's part of more of an organized killer than a disorganized
Yeah,
killer for sure.
because it's not something that they do to get the crime done. It's something that they do for fun.
I feel like
It
it's
it
a taunt to law enforcement
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
points because it's usually something that they go, okay, this is definitely the same guy. Like, I
right.
think, for example, there's a section in this book that describes a needle being put through the breast tissue of women. The serial killer was doing this. And
Yeah.
at that point, it, to me, feels more like a taunt than anything
Mhm.
else. Of, yeah, this is my crime. I marked it as mine, but
Yeah.
you still haven't caught me yet.
So, middle finger to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I was reading something right before we did this the first time about the Green River Killer, and something there was something in the media about it, and then his next victim actually was found with like a fish on her body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I mean
remember
it,
something
and
about that. I haven't done a lot into Gary Ridgway, but
oh,
definitely.
that would be that would be a whole podcast, I imagine. Like when I say a whole podcast, like instead of Battered, the podcast, it would be
Spattered
the
presents
Green
Green River
it would
Killer.
be Green River Killer, the podcast,
Oh, yeah.
which, I know we talk about it, and we talk about it for informational and educational purposes, but I think for that, that's a little bit more sensational, and not sensational and like woohoo, a good way. It's like, no, I don't want
Oh,
to
yeah.
give someone like that airtime.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. I can understand that. That's partially why I don't talk about Chris Watts on the
Mm,
podcast. I won't do those ones. He listens in on them.
yeah.
But a serial killer may also display the body in a position for shock value or go to extreme and elaborate details to dispose of the body to ensure that it's never found. And I believe the first time that we did this, I discussed Israel Key's disposal method, which usually maintained
Yeah.
Drano and two trash bags for a victim,
Oh my God.
which is absolutely terrifying. And mind you, there are most likely multiple other victims that we'll never know that were part of Israel
Yeah.
Keyes' strain, and they never found the couriers.
That's just horrifying.
Oh, yeah. So, these individuals may also maintain respectable lifestyles and engage in regular sexual relations. However, do most likely not have a satisfactory relationship with anyone. They're typically antisocial individuals interested in self gratification methods.
Mhm.
These individuals will also most likely increase their killing and decrease their cool off period in order to maintain a equilibrium between fantasy and physical highs that they obtain through their attacks, leading to more bold and disregarding risk-based killings.
So really, it's like a drug addict.
Mhm.
You
You get a little taste of
develop a
it.
tolerance. Yeah, you get a little taste, and you're like, "Ooh, I like this. I'm gonna do it.
Mhm.
Ooh, I like this." So, yeah, it's exactly like that. And then when you do more, take more, yeah, like you said, they're doing riskier things, risking getting caught,
Mhm.
um,
And that's usually when
escaping
they
from
do get
jail.
caught. Is when they start doing stupid shit.
Uh, yeah, and thank heavens that the majority of criminals do mess up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's still some out there that are unfortunately successful what they're
Yeah.
doing.
So, the disorganized killer may have a crime scene that exhibits a spontaneousness to the crime and has a little or haphazard attempt to conceal evidence. So, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's disorganized, it's chaotic.
Hmm.
There's no attempt to cover up evidence. They came, they did, they left.
And this is different. I'm just pointing out. It's different from a spree killer. So a spree killer, or a mass shooter or something like
Oh, yeah.
that, while they do have one more than two or three victims, there are those other elements that aren't there, like the cooling off period,
Hmm.
that
A
Meredith
serial
and
killer would have that
yeah,
emotional cool off period is what
right,
makes a serial killer so unique, because in a spree murder or in a mass murder per se, it's usually back to back to back to back to back
yeah,
until they are
Vic,
stopped
either
or they
by
give
the by
up.
law enforcement or by their own hand.
Hmm. It's scary. I remember going through
Yeah.
that when we were, I think we were in our your class, and then we also talked about it in sociology of murder,
Uh-huh.
because
Uh-huh.
it is just a completely different sociological
Yeah.
aspect to killing.
Yeah, there's no choice, I guess, if you will, in the victim. There might be initially,
Hmm.
but everybody else is kind of collateral damage.
Yeah,
And I don't say that lightly, but in that person's brain, that's what it is.
yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's very scary.
it's very scary. So, disorganized killers would usually fit into the clinical definition of psychotic and are in minority as they lack the ability and the wherewithal to repeatedly escape apprehension
Yeah.
because they're leaving
Yeah.
evidence everywhere.
Right. And they're probably what we kind of talked about as being that more stereotypical crazy monster type of person
That
that
everybody's kind of
looks,
like, oh, this person's
yeah,
weird.
yeah, I'm going to stay away from him or her cuz I don't want to be their next victim. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Serial murder is not new. However, it is important to note that it is rare. However, I think we discussed this. Of According to the Department of Justice, it's rare. In my personal opinion, and I do mean personal, I don't think it's as rare as we like to see.
Yeah, I think statistically you could say it was rare, because or not as common, maybe not rare, but not common via the statistics that are out there. However, I agree with you. I do think uh, there have there's stuff that hasn't been put together, and like what
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about the first time we recorded this, what you pointed out, like and not to, this is not dissing anybody's career or job choice or anything, but long haul truckers, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you have you have the world on a platter right there. You have a mobile house and the country with which to do what you will.
Oh, yeah. And I do highly recommend if anyone is looking into more of that. I just started reading it, but Long Haul, The Hunting of the Highway Serial Killers by Frank, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounce this, but Figaluzzi. He spoke at CrimeCon this last year, and
Okay.
he actually spent, I want to say, a week or more on the road long haul trucking
Oh wow.
with people just to get a feel for how this lifestyle is and how erratic it is and how they can get away with committing murders as they're going through. And unfortunately, the biggest highway in the country, the I-40, is
Uh-huh.
marked as the blood red line of I-40.
Oh,
So it
wonderful.
has
And
the
it goes,
most killings on
oh my
it,
God.
which is terrifying, especially if you're driving that across the country.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, my mom wanted me to
Yeah.
read that book before I drove to Arizona. I'm like, you won't get me then. Do you want me to
Oh,
come or
it's
no?
right. It's like, you're gonna fly me. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I do highly recommend that book. It's been really good so far. It's a little bit of a dry
Okay.
read, but that's usually what you get with true crime books. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's very, it just, it's fact based. There's not a lot of embellishment.
additional reasons for serial murders have been explored for some time, as well as many diverse reasons behind their heinous behavior. Demonic possession, biological factors, emotional detachment, childhood trauma, lack of infant attachment to the mother, watching sex and violence on TV, sexual arousal, vigilantism, lack of ability for psychiatric treatment, greed. The list goes on for reasons why people believe that serial killers offend the way that they do.
Mm.
To which, to be perfectly fair, I saw my first horror movie at 2 years old, so I mean, I think we're okay. I think it just depends totally on the person and
Oh
other
yeah.
factors going on in their life.
Oh, it's, yeah, it's I don't think it's any one thing. I really, really don't. I think it's a combination of things. Like we had said before, you have people who experience horrible, traumatic childhoods,
Oh, yeah.
and they did not grow up to be serial killers. Conversely, you had people who came from great families,
Oh, yeah.
loving homes, who turned out to be
Serial
serial killers.
killers.
So, I agree with you. I think it's more complex. I mean, if we're talking biology and genetics, it, you could have the propensity for it, kind of like, if you have the propensity to be an alcoholic or the propensity to have sleep apnea or something like that.
Yeah.
I do think it's the same thing. Just because you have this genetic predisposition does not mean,
Yeah. You're not going to be a serial killer just because you have this. It's something that's it's obviously choice and becomes triggered at some point.
yes.
So, before going through typologies, I'm going to mention characteristics that are usually characterized with serial murders. This is generally no prior relationship to the victim or the attacker. The second would be subsequent murders at different times. However, they will usually maintain geo a geographical location or orientation. The subsequent murderers will appear to have no connection to the initial murder, meaning that your first murder isn't going to look like the rest of them.
Hmm.
The motive is usually not material gain, but the murderer's desire to have power or dominance over their victim. The victim may have been symbolically valuable to the murderer, or are perceived to have little status or prestige, and in most instances are unable to defend themselves or alert others to their situation. Crimes will often be sadistic and repetitive
Mm.
in nature, and in most instances, sexually oriented.
Ed Kemper comes to mind.
He's something,
Yeah,
yeah.
he is something else for sure.
These next two characteristics, in my opinion, pertain mostly to what I would presume organized killers.
Okay.
So they research their craft and adjust their operations as required to assess and control victims, as well as thwart the police in their investigation.
Yeah.
They also plan their murders with a approach and escape route and the site of their attack of where they're going to do this, as well as the disposal site for their victim's body afterwards.
Yeah.
Which, if you can, and obviously there's only so much that you can do in that, I shouldn't say experience, but in that scenario, don't let them take you to a second location.
Right.
Fight,
Fight,
kick, scream,
fight,
do whatever you
fight,
need to do. Don't let
fight.
them get you to a second
I mean,
location.
if they're gonna take you in the car or whatever, your things aren't good.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I don't know how to say this in a good way. If you're gonna already be his target,
Oh,
then
yeah. Well, I
fight.
remember my Nana, she always told me, and mom always told me that if somebody is going to try to take you, you put up as big a fight as you can, because if they're going to end up killing you anyway, you need
Yeah,
to be at the primary scene so somebody
yeah,
knows where it happened. And you
yeah,
leave as much DNA as possible. Kick, scream, scratch, do whatever you need to do.
yeah.
Leave DNA. All
Mm.
right. So let's move into the typologies of serial killers. So,
Okay.
motives and methods arise as key aspects of how we label serial killers for the purpose of studying them. However, it's important to note here that serial killers are not bound by one typology. In fact, typologies can often overlap.
Yeah.
So, different serial killers have different motives for their crimes, and while some infamous serial killers have a sexual sadism for their motive, others may not. For example, John George Haig was a materialistic serial killer with his crimes, which is
Hmm.
very interesting for a male because that's usually not what happens.
Yeah.
The four classifications by Holmes and DeBurger in 1988 were visionary, missionary, hedonistic, and power or control. So we'll
Okay.
start with the hedonistic serial killer. This killer is usually broken into three subcategories of lust, thrill, and comfort killers.
Yeah.
They most likely commit crimes or these acts for fun or enjoyment. Lust killers are regarded as having purely sexual motive to their crimes, meaning sexual pleasure is the goal while they are murdering. This killer may torture the victim both sexually in life as well as post mortem stages.
Hmm.
This includes, but is not limited to, biting, whipping, burning, electrocuting, and forcing the victim to consume caustic substances such as cleaning fluid.
Ugh. God, disgusting.
Thrill killers are an individual that commit a murder and will go to great efforts to clean up the crime scene to avoid being detected,
Hmm. Undetected. Yeah.
undetected. The satisfaction of this killer is the pain that they inflict upon their victim, and that thrill may extend past the victim's death. Such killers will go to great lengths to avoid detection, so they may continue to kill in the future.
With the thrill killer, the one you were just talking about,
Hmm.
um, they go to great lengths and they can enjoy it later. I mean, I every time we're talking about the different categories and stuff, someone pops into my head, and then it
Hmm.
makes me think, huh, well, does the cooling off period last longer because they got a thrill enough to last them for X amount of time. Um, I mean, I know there's no statistics on that because you have to interview all these serial killers who would have to be honest with the person interviewing them, which
Yeah.
they're not going to be.
No, they're
Um,
not.
I don't know, it was just something going through my head because what who popped into my head when you were talking about the last one was Dennis Rader.
Hmm.
He was very meticulous, but he got the sexual gratification. Sorry,
Oh,
dog.
no, you're fine.
Sexual gratification from his crimes, um, and he had a really long time. It seemed between some of his murders.
Well, Dennis Rader went off the radar for, I want to say, almost 10 years, 8, 10 years at one point,
Yeah,
which is insane for a serial
yeah,
killer to do, but it's not unheard of.
yeah.
When I think of this, unfortunately, he lives rent free in my brain, and I am just absolutely fascinated by him. It's Israel Keys
Uh
because
huh.
he was so down to the wire meticulous
Uh
to a
huh.
point where it was terrifying. Of he knew what he was doing, he knew where he was going, he knew how he was going to clean things up, he knew how to distract the police to get their attention elsewhere to go commit a crime and basically just go undetected.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, he is terrifying.
Sorry, comfort
The
killers.
comfort killer.
Let's
these
have some comfort.
these individuals kill for material gain, and although they may derive other satisfactions from their murders, this is the overarching goal of their murder. This killer will carefully select a victim as compared to a random victim of another serial killer. So, in instance of this one, I think of Dorothea Puente, where she's
Mm-hmm.
selecting
Yeah.
older individuals and unfortunately killing them off, burying them in her backyard,
Yeah.
but still collecting welfare from them.
Right. And nobody, kind of what you talked about before, a vulnerable population,
Mm-hmm.
um, family, they don't have family or a lot of family anymore. So who is going to miss Mr. Jones, who went to go stay at Dorothea's place? Nobody.
Oh, yeah. So, in the next category, we have the visionary killer. This individual may seem similar to the mission serial killer,
Mm-hmm.
as we'll discuss as we continue onward, specifically in their victim type. This killer may suffer from psychosis, which results in
Mm.
a break from reality. This killer may hear voices and experience hallucinations where they're being told to kill or murder their victim.
Right.
This murder is generally unplanned, and the killer may not even bring a weapon with them to the crime.
Huh.
They tend to keep within the label of disorganized killer, and the murder scene will likely be chaotic.
Okay. Okay.
The
Because
vision
they accomplish.
they have the goal to accomplish. They have
Yeah.
to do it.
Okay.
So, the visionary killer is typically the most popular serial killer depicted in entertainment, usually the archetype of a classic serial killer in movies and TV.
Uh huh.
Prosecution and trial may be complicated as there's a question of if the serial killer should be considered psychiatrically insane, go to a psychiatric facility or a other treatment facility for mental health, or just go to prison.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, mental health is nothing to take lightly.
mhm.
But the legal definition of sanity and insanity, versus people saying, "Oh, he's a psychopath. He belongs in jail." Um, Being a psychopath does not mean you're insane.
Yeah,
So it's that legal definition of insanity that has to be met. And there are a lot of mental health disorders that folks suffer from, and those folks may also be serial offenders of some type, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're insane,
absolutely.
right? Yeah.
So, We have the mission serial killer next. And this is an individual who may be regarding their victims as being useless to society or even blights that must be removed from society. This killer may believe that it is their responsibility to cleanse society of the meaningless creatures, which that absolutely hurts coming out of my mouth, but
It
that is
does. It
how
hurts.
it's defined. So, for example, a religious misguided zealot may consider sex work as repugnant to an extent that only by killing these individuals may society be made whole again, which I'm not really sure if Jack the Ripper would fall into that category or not, but
Uh, that's a tough one, maybe,
mhm,
because, I mean, all of his victims were sex workers. So one could hypothesize that, yeah,
was
that
part of it.
was, he was a mission driven killer.
Absolutely. So these individuals usually will hold themselves up onto a godlike pedestal or quality and see it as a quest to rid society from their definition of evil. Very few of these serial killers ever commit suicide when threatened with capture, though, so
Yeah.
they're usually being taken in. Next is the power and control killer. This individual will display a need to be in control or manipulate their victim. If the killer cannot find someone who fits their ideal victimology type, they they basically feel the desire to do so and the killing desire is strong, they might just attack the next person that they encounter.
Which is scary
Mhm.
for everyone.
So, this individual is usually driven by sexual fantasy and fulfilling the ideology with killing. This feeling of power and control is argumentably present in most serial killers. However, there are cases where it isn't. Now, there is an argument that can be made for female serial killers that they differ very much from males.
Yeah.
And the typologies that we just went through don't adequately apply to female serial killers. So,
Mm, maybe some of them
I
do,
feel like some
but
of them do. However,
yeah,
they also fall into their own little categories. Like it
yeah,
spiderwebs off of the bigger ones, kind of like how the
yeah,
hedonistic serial killer works with their subcategories.
yeah. Agreed.
So there are a total of 9 female serial killer typologies. The first is the Black Widow killer.
Okay.
They kill their spouses or other family members. Following that are angels of death, who kill those in a healthcare setting. Usually it's a nurse to a patient setting or a medical professional to a patient setting.
Okay.
Sexual predator, which murder in the act of sexual homicide.
Yeah, Eileen Warnos.
Arlene
Okay.
Warnos, revenge killer, is a murder
Okay.
as a part of a act of passion or revenge upon their victim.
Okay.
Profit for crime. These are killers who simply kill for material gain. Then there's the teen killer, which we will round back round to here in a moment. But these are serial killers that kill with a partner and usually an
Mm,
intimate partner.
mm-hmm.
The question of
Yeah.
sanity is also another typology, and it's the question if someone is actually legally insane and starts committing these murders, per se, because we
Yeah.
always have the hysterical woman.
Yeah. Which, you know, I don't know. Women can't,
I,
we can't have it both ways.
we can't have it both ways.
We we can go follow um the partner and kill people, but then we can't just be his victim too. I don't know.
Hmm.
I know I'm probably going to get skewered for this. So listeners out there, please don't hate me on this, but I I don't think we can have it both ways.
So, explained and unsolved murders. These are typically cases where it's believed that a female serial killer is responsible, but the reason why is undetermined.
Actually have a question.
Okay.
Where would mothers now this is okay, so now I'm thinking of Munchausen syndrome by
By proxy,
proxy.
are you thinking of the case of the woman doing this sudden
Like,
infant death syndrome with her
yeah, like
babies?
Mary Beth Tinning.
Yep.
So, serial killer, yes. Um, Also mentally ill.
I think that's a question of sanity killer at that
Yeah,
point, but
yeah.
also
Okay.
a black widow as well.
Right.
So I think that under that ideology of killing, unfortunately, performing infanticide to your child in a matter of Munchausen's by proxy, I believe it would fall underneath the insanity along with the Black Widow killer. So they would mesh together, per se.
Black Widow though, you're doing it for personal gain.
Hmm.
So I'm just playing devil's advocate here. You're doing it for personal gain, right? You're not doing it. I mean, I know with the Munchausen syndrome by proxy, it's personal gain, like attention,
Attention.
but the Black Widow seems more profit driven, I guess, than the other.
Sometimes it completely depends
Yeah.
because if you think about Virna Renzi, the traditional Black Widow killer,
Yeah.
she was basically in this wave of revenge and Black Widow killings of she was killing men that were coming into her home. She even killed her son because he dared to follow into another woman.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it definitely lies around those, like we said, some of these overlap.
I was going to say, just going back to what you
Hmm.
said about overlapping and may not be so discrete as to be in its own category.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like knitting a scarf and you have multiple different colors going.
Oh, that's an awesome analogy.
I just thought of that. I'm actually really proud
I
of it.
like that.
It is. It's really like knitting, and you just have so many other colors overlapping as you're going, and they're weaving and they're twining and they're making new patterns or any
New
type
patterns and
of.
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Very good.
So now, what's the difference between male and female killers? Females usually are thought to kill for instrumental reasons, such as financial gain rather than sexual fantasy. Although it's not entirely true, as there are women, as we discussed, that do kill for sexual thrill and pleasure. Although a sexual sadist female serial killer is considered to be very rare.
Mm.
Additionally, it wasn't until the early 1990s that it was believed that women could commit serial killings at all. In fact, prior to 1984, it was thought that it was impossible.
Again, we can't have it both ways.
Nope. So, motivations behind female serial killings are often for personal gain and instant gratification. Many women claim to have committed murders due to sexual abuse that they suffered earlier in their lives. Regardless, though, due to a lack of study and newsworthiness of female serial killers, motives, and maintaining consistent theories as to why these individuals kill just remains elusive. Additionally, most females charged with serial murder have a counterpart. So here we go into the team
There
killers.
we go. Yep.
Team killers usually consist of a male and a female. However, they can consist of two males, and in very rare occasions, they consist of a female only team.
Okay.
So, generally, the number is consistent of two individuals, one of which is the dominant member guiding the actions of the pair, and the second is a more submissive member following orders. Also, one part of the team is usually significantly older than the other part in about 50% of serial killer teams.
Okay. Okay.
It's complete guesswork and speculation, usually to presume if one or both members have killed or would kill when working independently of each other.
And that
Usually,
was a big sorry, that was a big question with the snipers.
mhm.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting.
No, you're
My
fine.
bad.
You're fine. So, usually, when these individuals are caught, there is one side of the party that will place the majority of the blame on the other. For example, David Parker Ray and Cindy Hindi. Cindy Hindi immediately started folding and telling everybody what David did. Then she's like, I don't want to leave him. And David's like, oh, this is her idea. It wasn't mine. And it's like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
okay. You guys just throwing
Ugh.
each other under the bus. That's cool.
Yeah. Right. And who are they gonna suffer more?
Mm-hmm.
Or who's gonna suffer more out of that? The male or the female?
Oh,
Who are
yeah.
they gonna believe? Male or female?
Oh, yeah. Well, at that point, with everything that went down in New Mexico, at that point, I
Uh-huh.
wouldn't believe shit from either of them. I'd be like, you two are messed the fuck up. No. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
So, going into our last section, the psychology behind and around a serial killer.
Mhm.
Y'all might have heard of the McDonald's triad,
Yeah.
which is the predisposition for animal cruelty, fire setting, and bedwetting in childhood that is an indicative factor that later aggression and violent behavior will occur in adulthood. This is usually referred to as a precursor to serial and sexual murders. It was first coined
Mm.
by John MacDonald in 1963 in his article entitled The Threat to Kill, which observed three coincidental behaviors which were unique to most of his aggressive and sadistic patients. In this article, MacDonald wrote that based on his findings of over 100 patients from the Colorado Psychiatric Hospital who had reportedly threatened to kill someone or had possibly done so based on interviews, MacDonald identified that bedwetting past the age of 5, animal cruelty, and setting fires in
Mm.
childhood were all considered warning signs for later aggression. According to this theory, the three behaviors occurring together or as a combination of two or more should identify that a child is at risk for becoming a violent adult and could be further linked to specific types of violent offenses, including sexual sadists, arsonists, and most prevalently, serial murders.
Mm. Yes. Amen. Oh my God. I definitely, I mean, the bed, yeah, I mean, I don't know how the whole bedwetting thing comes in. I think that's maybe a very Freudian thing, but definitely the cruelty to animals, the fire setting. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's all about control and pain, and maybe just I don't know what the bedwetting has to do with that, but
Oh, yeah. So, enuresis is the first of the three behaviors, and it refers to the unintentional bedwetting during sleep that persists after the age of 5 years old. This
okay.
theoretical basis for the association between enuresis and antisocial tendencies stems from Freud's proposition that urination was erotic and bedwetting was an act of sexual frustration.
Okay,
So
yep, there
you're
we
on it
go.
with the Freud principles.
Very Freudian.
However, it has become known that enuresis can also be a medical factor that has the tendency to do with sleeping deeply and the body's
Yeah,
overproduction of urine at night, which unfortunately would lead to bedwetting.
yeah. I mean, if everybody who wet the bed became a serial killer, I think our population wouldn't be in the billions, so
No.
yeah, okay.
However, according to other research, it was measured that in the instance of physical or sexual intimate partner violence against a
Mm.
woman by her husband, with children being aware of it, may lead to behavioral problems such as nightmares, bedwetting, timidity, and aggressive behavior because you idolize these people and you're just doing what you're shown.
Right, right. And if
Yep.
you don't have anything else to model after, guess what?
That's what happens. You end up modeling after
Uh-huh.
people that you revere as peers. So,
Yeah.
animal cruelty is the second of the three behaviors, and I'm so sorry, Kim, and everybody else. Here's your fucking trigger warning. You might want to skip
Oh, I
ahead
hate
just a little bit.
this is the worst. I hate this the worst.
So, animal cruelty is the second of the three behaviors, which is the intentional cause of unnecessary pain, suffering, distress, or possibly even death to an animal.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
This has a very strong link to children who have experienced abuse themselves as a victim or as a witness, most likely from an adult in authoritative power. And as we
Mm.
know, most children who experience intimate partner violence at a young age will most likely continue the cycle into adulthood or into other individuals or animals weaker than them or what they deem to be weaker than them. And it will most likely proceed into the adult years.
That's that's terrifying right there.
Hmm.
Because you can't, to me, that's the part where you can't seem to go through therapy and get someone out of that mindset, you
Hmm.
know? That doesn't seem like, I don't know. To
I've
me,
just,
that's just like, it's gone way too far.
oh yeah, at that point, it's gone way too far. I'm like, I don't know if you're beyond help, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how to help you in that situation. And I've also come to the understanding with like my own intimate partner violence situations.
Uh,
Watch how your pets react to somebody. Just watch
yes.
because
Oh,
they
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
And the biggest red flag to me is when they pop off and they start screaming at an animal. And I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
what's happening? Because my dog just
Right.
brought you a toy and you're yelling at her. What the hell? So,
Yeah. And animals have a really good sense of people. You know, if your dog doesn't like somebody,
mm-hmm.
then guess what? Get them out of your house. However, you know, just because your dog likes somebody doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best either.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. But it is a really good indicator at times because if they're going to be abusive to an animal or to you,
Hmm.
if they're going to be
Yeah.
abusive to the animal first, they will most likely be abusive to you as well.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
it's definitely that red flag of you need to go. Goodbye.
Yeah.
However, there are specific motivations listed for this type of behavior. It's control, retaliation against an animal for something they did could also be a factor, satisfying a prejudice against a specific breed, expressing aggression through the animal, so teaching them to attack others and other animals, enhancing one's own aggression, meaning
Ugh,
honing in violent skills.
that's that's just terrifying.
Hmm.
That is terrifying.
Shock factor, retaliation against another person, displacement of hostility from a person to an animal, and lastly, non-specific sadism has also come up as a reason why animal harm is done at a young age.
Mm-mm.
So we're out of that. Everybody take a breath. We're going into setting fires as the
Oh,
third pyramid side of the McDonald's triad.
and that's nothing.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
nothing. That's why I was like, you know
nothing.
what? We're just gonna put animals above this so we can come back down with something really nice.
Right. Something a little less triggering because, yes, fire is bad. Don't play with fire. Don't set things on fire.
Fire was proposed to be a predictor for later violence when in conjunction with the two previous stated
Huh.
instances. It has been proposed that children that set fires as a response mechanism to both internal and external stressors,
Stressors.
stressors usually present with difficulties in problem solving and suffer with pro-social skill defects, and it may be represented as a release of aggression for a child to set a fire.
Mm. Mm.
However,
Okay.
this has also been argued to be a result of children simply being curious of fire, but not fully understanding the
Yeah.
destruction that goes behind it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, campfires, you know,
Hmm.
fire is interesting. I have to say. I know that sounds very, very creepy, but it is. It's almost like alive. You know, I mean, I think we talked about this. I played with candles and stuff like that
Oh,
when I
yeah.
was a little girl. And it's fascinating. You see how fire moves and the different colors, and then when you get into
Hmm.
chemistry, fire does turn all different colors
It
depending
does.
upon the elements and all that cool stuff.
That is my
But that doesn't mean
favorite
people
lab.
should play with it. Um, but yeah, maybe it's just more the control thing. I don't know.
Or maybe lack of control because fire is just so
Oh, yeah.
unpredictable. It can also be correlated to conduct disorder, which can later elevate
Uh,
into antisocialization in adulthood. So,
okay.
fire's interesting. Don't set your house on fire. If you use it,
No.
please use it responsibly, or at least
Keep it
somewhere nearby
contained.
a hose so you can put it back
Keep it
out.
contained.
So, in this article by Parafit and Eileen, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounced either of those names, in 2020, the research regarding empirical evidence that the McDonald's triad is correct is still
Mm.
lacking. However,
Oh,
they did admit that while bedwetting didn't seem to provide a valid prediction for future violent behavior, they did note that the cruelty towards animals and setting fires did have more promising evidence to predict future violent behaviors,
oh,
along with how general antisocial behavior may also play a role in violent behavior in the future. Moreover, some violent offenders do exhibit one of the three behaviors listed, but rarely do they exhibit all three.
okay. Yeah.
Now, in the American Homicide textbook, it mentions how the McDonald's triad is usually a sign that a child has been a victim themselves of abuse, particularly from a close family member. This
Ugh.
is not a guarantee that the children that develop the McDonald's triad will become a serial killer or even engage with crime as they get older. But it can still be a way to detect early warning signs of maladaptive behavior ahead.
Yeah, really. Like we were talking about the genetic predisposition or the propensity type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because XYZ happens, except for, cruelty to animals, in my opinion, doesn't mean you're going to become a serial killer
Oh, absolutely.
or a serial offender. Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about the dark triad, which is characterized by three negative personality traits into adulthood. That is narcissism, Machiavellianism,
Huh?
and subclinical psychopathy, which all can share malevolent features. Defining the traits of narcissism are derived from the Greek mythology story of Narcissus, a hunter who fell in love with his own reflection, became obsessed with it in a pond of water, and eventually drowned. Narcissism can be classified by selfish, arrogant, lacking empathy, boastfulness, and sensitivity to criticism and insults. Individuals will usually have an entitled or superiority complex while masking a typical sense of inadequacy. Inadequacy. Yeah. Inadequacy?
Inadequacy?
Inadequacy. Oh my
Inadequacies.
God.
Inadequacies.
I am not a speaker today. So, Machiavellianism's associated traits include manipulation, self interest, lack of emotion, absence of morality, and deceit. Essentially, these types of individuals are highly manipulative and are willing to ruthlessly deceive others to obtain what they desire, while having a genuinely cynical view of the world. Now, we're going to pause and talk about antisocial personality disorder and psychopathy, as these
Okay.
topics regularly pop up together and popped up in all these readings that I'm coming from today. And unfortunately, they can regularly be confused with each other. So,
Yeah.
psychopathy is a condition characterized by personality traits of an individual being unable to feel guilt, deceitfulness, and usually have poor impulse control. There is a line to be drawn here with antisocial personality disorder, though. Persons with psychopathic personalities are not necessarily aggressive, and psychopathy should not be confused with psychosis, which is a complete detachment from reality. Antisocial personality disorder, which is sometimes called sociopathy, is a mental disorder in which a person consistently shows no regard for right or wrong and completely ignores the feelings of others. People with antisocial personality disorder tend to antagonize, manipulate, or treat others harshly or with callous indifference. These individuals will show no guilt or remorse for their behaviors. These individuals will often violate laws and become involved with criminal acts. They also may lie regularly, behave violently or
Yeah.
impulsively, and have an issue with substance abuse. To add on to this one, when they lie, they at times can full heartedly believe that their lie is the 100% truth,
Yep.
which
Which is
is,
why they can pass a
I
polygraph.
was going to say, that's why they could pass a polygraph.
Yeah. No emotions. I'm sorry. So I stole your thunder, Katie. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You're fine.
No emotions. And they don't think they're lying. So
Oh, yeah. That's absolutely terrifying to me because polygraph is so. It's not like it's super. Because obviously, we've discussed this before. It's not admissible in a court of law because there are inaccuracies with it. But it
right.
is
Oh yeah.
intimidating as fuck. I could not
Oh
imagine
yeah.
going in there and lying my ass off during one. So, because of these characteristics, it makes it difficult or impossible for them to fulfill responsibilities related to family, work, or school. People with antisocial personality disorder are unlikely to seek help on their own as well. And it's important to note here that while antisocial personality disorder is considered a lifelong diagnosis, in
Hmm.
some cases, certain symptoms do decrease over time. However, it's not clear if it is decreased as a result of aging or as an increased awareness of consequences that come with antisocial behaviors. Now, the dark triad personality usually will have individuals who will do or say practically anything to get their way. They lack the normal human needs for beneficial social interaction,
Hmm.
including compassion, empathy, and a moral compass, while having a argumented view of themselves and will be shameless about self-benefiting at times. These individuals are likely to be rash and can engage with dangerous behaviors, even committing crimes, without regard to how their actions impact others.
Yeah. Basically, I don't give a shit. I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
give a
go
shit.
do whatever I want.
I'm gonna go steal this peanut cluster. Don't even worry about it.
That was the last peanut cluster. God damn it.
So, individuals who have this toxic combination of personality traits are more likely to be ready to exploit individuals closest to them and experience very little remorse when inflicting harm upon others. Individuals that display the dark triad are also very good at masking and concealing their true nature. In fact, when first meeting an individual displaying the dark triad, you may actually be swooned by them as they come across as charismatic and charming. For example, Ted Bundy, going back to this, he came across
Mm-hmm.
as very charismatic and charming, and there are papers regarding the dark triad that relate directly to Ted Bundy.
Ugh.
And it's terrifying.
That is, I don't even know what to say. That,
Mhm.
yeah, it is terrifying. That, yeah.
So we do have some parts that I wasn't entirely sure where to put them.
Okay.
However, this does fall into the mental health category still. Out of 239 eligible killers, a study conducted by the University of Glasgow wanted to find what the cause could possibly be to help elucidate mechanisms for extreme violence with the potential to lead to preventative strategies in the future. So basically, keeping individuals from serial offending later in their years by figuring out what's causing it in their adolescence. So, in the study, it was found that 57 adolescent offenders accused of homicide, about
Mm.
67% of them had development problems in some way. However, the use of multiple and excessive violence was not related to having the developmental problem per se. It's just found
Oh,
that most of
okay.
them did have the developmental problem.
Okay.
So,
Not correlation, not cause, correlation and
it's
cause
a
not
correlation,
going
but
on
it's
there.
not
There's a
complete.
correlation, but
It's kind of like how when temperatures get warmer and ice cream sales go up, homicide rates go up. It's weird,
yeah.
but it is
Ew.
something that
Yeah, that
happens.
is.
I think everybody's just grouchy in the summer.
I think so too.
I think that's
Well,
what
it
happens.
I also it's like when domestic violence increases during holidays.
Mhm.
Why? Family members together
Yep.
that haven't seen each other.
So, yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into play, but like I said, the developmental problems don't always have a full connection to it. There's a weird correlation, though. It was also
Where in
found that children with onset neuropsychiatric disorders were
uh
more common to become violent offenders.
really?
So,
Oh.
it was a really
Well,
interesting paper.
that makes you question the quality of the care.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So, we're not going to get into it too much, but during the study, a new category began to emerge with the relation of head injuries in adolescence
Ah,
to serial
frontal
killers
lobe damage.
into adulthood because they
Yep.
had all figured out that the individuals that already had a predisposition for the disorder and then received head trauma were becoming violent. An earlier study on head injuries in relation to serial killers found that approximately 1 in 4 serial killers had suffered either a head injury or more rarely a condition affecting the brain. For example, illness like meningitis or like scarlet fever during the early years of their life.
Okay.
There are documented biographies from serial killers that talk about early head trauma in their lives and how things just seem to shift and change after it. There's also information pointing to neurochemical imbalances in addition
Mhm.
to head trauma, like I had stated, that make a person act more violently towards others after head trauma is sustained.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your little
But yeah.
brain holds everything. And I can tell
Oh
you from
yeah.
anatomy physiology and taking a lot of courses that way, your
Uh-huh.
brain doesn't fully, like your skull doesn't fully seal shut for a couple years because
No.
you got to be made to
No.
bounce, okay? You're going to fall a lot.
Right. Yeah. Your what is it? They say your brain is really not fully formed till what your mid 20s. I mean,
For
you think about
males it was mid 20s, for females it's like
yeah.
2021.
I mean, think of the damage that can happen, physical damage and chemical damage. Like
Oh yeah.
with drugs and stuff. Yeah, that's super scary.
Oh, absolutely. And coming from experience of taking anatomy physiology, my professor at the time talked about holding his brand new baby niece and he remembered about fontanelles, which are the connecting points of the sutures.
Yeah, the little
When a
fontanelles.
when a baby is first born, those aren't sealed shut, so you can literally
Hmm.
poke
Push. Yeah,
the brain.
yeah. There's a yeah.
He's like,
Flip.
I just tapped it. She went cross-eyed. I went, huh? And I tapped it again and she went back to
You're
normal.
like, wait a second, I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my
Oh,
God.
woo! Oh, sorry.
Oh my goodness. Additionally, this article does go into detail about how more than 60 serial murderers found that psychological and physical abuse were prevalent in their childhood, meaning that they are experiencing a form of intimate partner violence, either that being from a parent or another trusted individual, or maybe even their sibling. As well as a significant prevalence of childhood abuse studies reported among a group of 62 male serial killers, 48% had been rejected by a parent or another important person in their lives. It was
Wow.
also found that children who were physically, sexually, or emotionally abused were 3 times more likely than non abused adults to act violently into adulthood, which we discussed that
Interesting.
with the cycle of violence. It does
Yeah.
continue
Yeah.
just beyond what's happening between you and your intimate partner. If there's a child on the scene, they're obviously learning these behaviors too, and it's not healthy.
Mhm.
Others listed humiliation and narcissistic injury early in life, predating and directly contributing to their murders in the future. However, these findings do lack a comparison group drawn from non offending populations of narcissistic individuals, so it's difficult to conclude if
Mhm.
and to what extent serial killers suffer more as children than others do. This article also discussed that there is a genetic factor that may cause an individual to biologically behave more violently. However,
Oh,
doesn't list it doesn't list as being a sole risk, as we do learn from our environments if a child was already in a violent based atmosphere, while the combination of a genetic factor may be there, there's a significantly greater risk, obviously, if you already have the genetic factor and then you're
mm,
experiencing intimate partner violence or any time of violent atmosphere as a child into becoming a criminal later in life. Lastly, we have serial murder investigation.
oh.
Ser- this is the fun part. Serial murder investigation.
How do we figure this shit out?
Yeah, exactly. They're often stymied because of the tendency for linkage blindness, which it
Right.
is
Yeah.
the typical way that things go unsolved because there's just different jurisdictions working at play, there's not communication, so those crimes slip through the cracks. Is when an investigation fails to recognize a pattern that links one crime to another in a series of cases due to victimology, geographical locations, the signature of the offender that they might be leaving. They might be leaving one signature in one jurisdiction, another in another jurisdiction. Similarities with modus operandi and the obvious lack of a modus operandi with the first initial victims. And then the review of autopsy protocols as well can have a hindrance when it comes to linkage blindness.
Yeah.
Starting a serial murder case entails that the investigation agency recognizes that this is such a case. Then taking the appropriate measurements and basically the steps to legitimately sustain a task force for the necessary manpower, equipment, and resources. There is, of course, media involvement too, as to when to announce a task force for a serial murderer has been created and when it's appropriate to discuss the case with the media. Now, unfortunately, there are typical ways that serial killers react to a task force. Many serial killers have a fascination with police procedure, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, some have even worked as police officers, reserve officers, or security guards, in which they use this experience to avoid detection.
And get in and have that sense of authority
Hmm.
and look at me and all that good stuff.
Well, I mean, I think it was Ed Kemper. I'm not entirely sure. He was the one
Hmm.
that was basically buddy buddy with the police department, talking with them, confessed flat out, and they
Yeah.
went, "Nah, it's not
Right.
you, Ed. Quit joking around." And he's like, "No, seriously, it's me. Look it up."
Yeah. Yeah. He would hang out in cop bars and
Hmm.
stuff, and they didn't. They thought he was just the greatest guy. He was super nice.
Absolutely. And like you said, some have been known to visit regular police hangouts and eavesdrop on information about an ongoing case. They may even attempt to interject themselves into an investigation to attempt to assist police with the investigation, which they're not really assisting.
Yeah. They're just trying to find out
Hmm.
how much do you know.
What do I need to worry
And
about? What do I need to
forensic
change?
forensic countermeasures.
Hmm.
What can I do to foil foil the plan over here?
Absolutely. The serial killer's reaction to the task force may be as followed. The killer continues to strike, and more bodies are discovered as the case continues. The more bodies or killings are discovered if they believe the police to be incompetent with their investigation. So they're more likely to continue murdering in the sense of like taunting of, oh, you're not solving this right away. So here's
Uh-huh.
this.
Uh-huh.
Let me give you another one, which is like, ugh.
Yeah. Stick it, poke the bear,
Let me
poke the
poke the
bear.
bear real quick. It's also very possible that the killer will reach out to authorities and taunt them. Unfortunately, this can happen at crime scenes as well as after the scene where they send items to police or media.
Ugh.
Serial murderers are sex offenders who live and work in the same neighborhoods where they are killing, blending into the community, and in some instances, establishing relationships with their victims. When the killer feels that police are on their trail, they may
Mhm.
travel outside of their jurisdiction and continue the murders, some of which may not be connected to their original case, meaning they may change the whole game and go with a
Yeah.
different modus operandi and how we're going to do this, while
Yeah.
having subtle little things happening that do link back to original cases.
Yeah. Like maybe a little bit of the signature is there. Elements of the MO may still be
Hmm.
there, but
Cause of death might still
n-
be there.
enough to say, oh, it's the same guy because XYZ is different. It's
Hmm.
like, come on.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be all the same.
So I have some myths and facts that I found along my way,
Okay.
which are always fun. Now, most of the country's most notorious serial killers were caught by accident or during some independent police action not related to the murder investigation. This is true. Most of them are caught off of something else. For example, Israel Keys was pulled over for speeding through a light. However, they already had theory that it was him prior to this. They just needed a reason.
Yeah. Well, parking ticket. Berkowitz. Was it Yeah, it was
Hmm.
Berkowitz. He had a parking ticket.
It's something that's completely unrelated and they get him on it and it's like,
Yeah.
wait a
And
minute.
finally, two and two is put together, and it's like, oh,
If
okay.
I remember correctly, I think Sam Little was actually taken in on what was it, drunk driving?
Who was?
Samuel Little.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Hmm. And they ran him through the DNA base because he was acting violent and weird. And all these cases started popping up, and they went, oh
Oh my God.
no.
Can you imagine what the investigators were like? What the
You think you're
fuck
bringing
did
somebody in for
we?
drunk driving, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden
wait,
their
like, wait
sheet is
a second.
glowing, and you're like,
Who
what's
messed
happening?
up? Who messed up the database? Who messed,
Oh, yeah.
God, I can't even imagine.
I
Well,
would absolutely like it's just one of those it's almost a cinematic moment if you just watch it pop up and it's like,
well, you know what? Actually, it is.
what?
I had when I worked an exoneration case, and we had a CODIS hit to the actual person who was then subsequently convicted of the crimes. It was a holy shit. Wait, what? What are you talking? Wait,
Mhm.
what? It doesn't match the person who is going through post conviction relief. Okay, wait, it matches what I mean, it truly is. It truly is. Yeah,
It's
it's crazy.
insane.
It's absolutely
It's a
crazy.
cinematic moment of holy shit, okay.
Yeah, it is a cinematic moment. You never forget that. I'm still picturing it. Like, I'm looking at my coworker, and she's looking at me, just face mouth open, and I said, "Wait, what? Oh, huh? Are you gonna call Detective so and so and let him know?" And there was a process to go through and all that kind of stuff,
Oh
and
yeah.
she eventually did. But oh my God,
I mean, even coming from my
it was
side of things,
incredible.
that I've never experienced that, but experiencing what it's like to dig into a case so deeply and so hard and then watch it get solved.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
one of those moments
yeah.
that the world just stands still. So, most serial killers are male, which is false, although they do make up a larger portion at 83%, 17%
Hmm.
are female. Serial killers are all insane. This is also false and a myth. Insanity is a legal term, and very few offenders, roughly between 2 to 4%, are usually found criminally insane. Now, while we did see this with Israel Keys as a more mobile killer, the fact is that most will stay within a geographical location or area close to their own local area. I'm not entirely sure where this falls as true or false anymore after reading a little bit of Long Haul because honestly,
Hmm.
they could be super mobile. We're not entirely sure.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing.
That's a
That
very
is.
scary thing. And I think the scariest thing that came of that was when we were sitting in that discussion, my mom turned and looked at me because most of those disappearances happen off the I 40 going into Oklahoma. And she turned to me and she went, why is it Oklahoma that's like glowing? And I went,
Yeah, why,
Mama, what's one of the biggest problems in missing persons that we have in the United States? And she went, Native Americans. I'm like, look at the literal east side of Oklahoma is all reservation.
oh,
And she went, oh
got
my
it.
God. I'm like, yeah,
Okay.
that's why it's glowing.
No.
So they kill as a result of sexual abuse in childhood. This is false, although some kill out of rejection and abandonment along with sexual abuse in childhood. It's obvious that just because you received abuse in childhood does not mean that you are going to become a sexual
Right.
offender
Right.
or a serial offender. Most serial killers cannot stop killing. This is also false, as there are many serial killers that have stopped killing for several years before returning to their activities. So, for instance, BTK, like we said, Dennis Rader. Nearly all serial killers are white. This is also false. While there are a large amount of white serial killers, in 1 in 5, statistic wise, serial killers will usually end up being African American. So that's 1 in 5. They killed dozens of victims. This is also false, as many serial killers have a body count under 10.
Okay.
About 1 in 4 serial killers will have a partner when it comes to murders, though. And the last little interesting fact is that serial killers have existed throughout history. And during ancient times or medieval times, such murders were thought to be the work of, like we said, monsters. So
Monsters.
your
Right.
stories of
Werewolves, devils,
werewolves,
demons.
yep, vampires, witches. It's
Uh-huh.
them doing this. It couldn't be a person.
Right. No, because people don't do that to other people.
Exactly.
Guess what?
They do, which is
Guess
absolutely
what, people?
terrifying as well. All right.
Uh, wow.
Well,
That was a deep, deep, deep
it
dive.
was a deep, deep, deep
And we
dive.
could keep going.
Oh, absolutely, we could keep going, but this at least gives our
A
listeners
taste.
a taste of what's happening and
Yeah.
a taste of some of the terminology that we may be using moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No.
because obviously we've had a couple serial killers. I think we've done 5 so far. Most of my cases have been missing
Right.
persons or unsolved. So, obviously, we will be going into those avenues and having this knowledge of what exactly we're talking about can help to better clarify our thought process behind some of these murders. So, yeah, that is the deep dive into serial killers. I hope to do more deep dives. I think I have a
Yes.
open one
I do too.
on forensic anthropology going right now,
Ooh.
which I absolutely love that field. That was the field I was going to
Yeah.
go to graduate school for.
Yeah, I
I
know.
was so excited. I don't have money. I also don't
Wow.
have time. So, but yeah, no, we'll definitely be going into more deep dive
Cool.
topics. So, just to give you guys a
Yay.
taste of the actual educational purpose behind some of these talks that we'll do
Yeah.
and the
No,
cases that we
I
discuss.
love it. I think it's great.
Me too. I don't have anything else for you
Oh,
today, Kim, and I'm finally starting
okay.
to get hot enough that I'm breaking the sweat.
Oh,
So
that you need to. Okay, yeah. You're looking a little warm
I'm
there.
looking a little glossy, a little warm. It's not too bad out here tonight. But thank you again for listening to Spattered. Please make sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at Spattered Podcast and on X at Spattered Pod. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you're watching on YouTube, like this video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to be notified when the show goes live or drops a video. As always, if you have a case request, any questions, or are interested in sponsoring the show, please email me at spatteredpodcast@gmail.com. Spattered is a true crime podcast hosted by Caitlin Gardner and Sarah Ray. The research and edits for this episode were done by Caitlin Gardner. All the music for the show was done by Lucio Cardenas. We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. And remember, the truth is always in the blood.